we move over here to our Seattle Mariners, who, it's going to be, I'll just tell you now, it's going to be not the easiest stretch of things since the All-Star break. Play that Astros series last week at home is obviously a little bit tough. The Astros, cheating or not, are still a very talented ball club. That's all I'll say about that. You've got this Rangers series that we'll talk about. You played the Astros again for 4 games, which is brutal. But thankfully, that's the last time you'll play Houston in the regular season, so get that out of the way. At the end of the day, it's not because, this, and that about Houston. They're a talented ball club in your own division. Get it out of the way. Be done with it. And then, starting today, you go up to New York to play the Yankees, who have, I believe, the best record in all of baseball. Or one of them. The Dodgers might have caught up. So it's not an easy stretch for you. But with that being said, the rest of the way, you play the statistical easiest ranked schedule in all of baseball. And the most of your competition that you're facing in the wild card are all in the top 10. So on paper, right, you should have a good shot. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I can tell you something's going to be easy, and then you still have to deal with it yourself. You have to take care of business. So let's get down to brass tacks. In that Rangers series, you see the nice broom there. I always love putting the broom graphic up when it's against us. July 25th versus the Rangers at home is a 4-3 win to start that series off. Play of the game, first baseman Ty France going 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 RBI. Ty, a 3-hit game, is pretty impressive. On the 26th versus the Rangers to take the series, a 5-4 win. Play of the game, catcher Cal Raleigh, 2 hits, 2 runs, and 2 RBIs. A lot of 2s going on. So Raleigh has a big game, helps the Mariners. I believe this was actually a comeback. I believe the Rangers scored in the top of the 9th to make it 4-3. And Raleigh on this bizarre slide, yes, that's right, was able on this slide. I think he was pretty clearly safe.
It definitely looked like that to me.
And so the Mariners take the series there. July 27th versus the Rangers, a day game, a matinee game versus the Rangers to complete the sweep. Thanks to our little broom fella there. I think I'm going to buy a little mini broom and bring it to games with a sweep opportunity. A 4-2 win on the 27th. Play of the game, center fielder Julio Rodriguez, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 RBIs. A 3-run homer late gives the Mariners a go-ahead lead, and they never look back. So this is a nice series to bounce back. You play leading into the All-Star break, you're playing Texas. Out of the All-Star break, you play Houston. You play Texas here. You play Houston. A lot of Texas going on. Too much. But you get back to business. I mean, the Rangers are still a talented ball club. They've got talent on their roster. I won't deny that. But I know that there were some reservations with certain fans in the fan base about Julio's wrist. This was something that he didn't play in that Houston series. We talked about it. First at bat back, he hits a home run.
He looked it.
So at the end of the day, my point is with Julio, you don't want to aggravate it and make it worse. Bottom line is I'd rather have him miss 3 games in July/August than miss anything in October. Late September playoff run type thing. So, and then in that July 27th game, he hits a 3-run bomb to give you the win effectively. So I would rather mitigate the effects now than deal with them later, simply put, at least in my opinion. Heading down to Houston to start a tough road trip. 4 games against the Astros. July 28th at the Astros, a 4-2 loss. One that Seattle was in up until late. Alex Bregman had a great game. I believe he had 3 RBIs, effectively put the Mariners to bed. Play of the game, Ty France, 1 hit, 1 RBI. Tough game offensively there for the Mariners. Speaking of tough games, on the 29th at the Astros, an 11-1 loss. Play of the game, center fielder Julio Rodriguez, 2 hits, 1 RBI. Responsible for the only run of the day. July 30th at the Astros, a 5-4 win, so they get 1 win of the series. They avoid a 4-game sweep. Play of the game, right fielder, I'm saying right fielder, Abraham Toro, 1 hit, a 2 RBI base hit late to give the Mariners a lead, and they would be able to hold on late. And then July 31st, in the final game of the series, unfortunately, a 3-2 loss in 10 innings. Player of the game, left fielder Jesse Winker, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 RBIs, a game-tying 2-run homer in the top of the 8th. Ties the game up for Seattle late, but unfortunately, Yordan Alvarez walks it off in the bottom of the 10th inning. So I only take so much stock in these Astros games because I know we're all excited. We had the 14-game winning streak. This is a team that's different. It's got Julio on it, Ty France on it. There's a lot of good talent on it. There's a trade that we're going to get to. At the end of the day, Houston's been able to make their ball club through the draft. And, signings, trades here and there, all that, yada, yada. But they're a talented ball club nonetheless. And I think right now they are better than you. Go through free agency this offseason, maybe we'll look at that again. But right now, yes, it's not a crime or a sin to say they're a better ball team than you, So I don't take much stock in that. Obviously, you can lose that series and still be in the wild card spot like you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like to take care of that. You look at the 3-2 loss, the 4-2 loss. You'd like to win those games, right? And I'm sure if you guys could help you win those games, being healthy could help you win those games. Having Julio win still in that July 31st game, you think that doesn't, affect that? So I don't put as much pressure on there. I think being in the wild card spot right now and playing Houston specifically and the injuries that are there, I think there's a heightened stress from some fans. Hey, you need to do this now. You need to win these games. You need to make this trade. We're in August. We have the full month of August to play, September, and then some games in October. The season isn't over tomorrow, So I think my dad says this all the time. You don't want to get too high. You don't want to get too low. And during the 14-game winning streak, you don't want to think you're going to a World Series. At the end of the day, after losing this series to Houston, you don't want to think your series is over.
Right.
Your season's over. Maintain an even keel. We'll get back to things, right? So tough kind of week. Obviously the sweep is nice, but overall offense could be, we look at 2 runs, 4 runs is fine. 5 runs, 1 run, 2, 4. So you're kind of middling in your offense. So I was the only player of the week. I had Ty France, 17 plate appearances, 6 hits, 3 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, 10 total bases, 2 walks, a 353 average, a 4.55 on base percentage, a 5.88 slugging percentage. Both of those added up equal a 1.043 OPS. So Ty continues to be important, but it's a pretty good segue to injury-related news. You're facing some injuries right here, and the slope of a 162-game season, some guys are going to get banged up. We look over to injury-related news here on the 28th. We got a bunch of updates. Diego Castillo, relief pitcher, is likely back immediately after his 15-day IL stint. Manager Scott Service says that he is likely only going to need 5 to 6 of those days. But they couldn't go down shorthanded in Houston. They needed to put him on some injured list so they could get another reliever. So that's why they placed him on that. Taylor Trammell was sent on a rehab assignment on Sunday. I believe he got on base 4 times that day, so that's pretty nice. Ken Giles is set to throw a live bullpen here soon in Arizona, so hoping that Giles is able to get back sooner rather than later so you can get more of that relief pitcher depth. And then the next steps with Mitch Haniger are to see him playing back-to-back days in the outfield and complete games in the outfield, seeing his return sooner rather than later. I was told to look at potentially Friday when the Mariners are back against the Angels, but that's not for sure. What Jerry DiPoto said is really up to Mitch and how he's feeling following his rehab assignment. I know he had some good games down in Tacoma. Looks like he's getting his timing back, but at the end of the day, just like with Julio, you don't want to rush these things.
Yep.
So because then we're in the same slump and we have to go back on the IL and we go back to another rehab. It's just a cycle. So that's what I'd rather be safe than sorry. Ty France related news. So injuries with Ty as we go to this great photo that Liv got of the broken bat. I love that photo. On the 27th, France did not play against the Rangers after tweaking his left wrist on a swing the day before. Didn't feel comfortable swinging the bat. Was able to play though. Following that, July 31st, France was out of the lineup versus the Astros while he received an MRI for his injured wrist. He is not expected to require a trip to the injured list and does aim to play one of the games against the Yankees in this upcoming series, but will be out these first few ones. Again, to be sure of this, I know that he dealt with a wrist injury last year. It was what kept him out after he had a good start to the season. So it's just like with some of these things, again, play it safe. Come back against one of these games against the Yankees and not worry about it as much. Julio Rodriguez, also, we talked about Ty, and I know we mentioned it with Julio. Julio had to go to the, I believe it's the 15th, that's a
10-day.
10-day IL with a right wrist contusion. So it's the same thing. He got hit by a pitch in one of the Astros games, wasn't feeling comfortable picking up the bat. So at the end of the day, why would you make him play through it? You don't, simply put. So I don't have a timetable for you on when we'll see Julio again. But that's, again, something that I would rather him, heal up and feel better. But there's no structural damage. The MRI, the x-rays came back negative. So that's probably your best case scenario, considering that he got hit. There's also an interesting stat that the Mariners have been hit like 36 times by their AL West opponents, and they've only hit 9 batters. Kind of a discrepancy. There was some stuff with the Astros broadcast where they're like, oh, there's a narrative here, and they're basically trying to pit the Mariners as the bad guy because George Kirby hit Jose Altuve in the last game. And the Mariners have been hit way more than they hit their opponents, so I'll just put that out there. We head over to team-related news. It was a pretty busy week.
It was.
As we ramp up to the trade deadline, which is tomorrow, so I'm keeping this thing active. Over to the Yankees landed Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas is a good pitcher from the Athletics, so the Yankees get stronger. I don't believe he'll pitch against the Mariners, but we could see about that. Team-related news. On the 26th, George Kirby was recalled from AAA Tacoma. As a corresponding move, right-handed pitcher Matt Brash was optioned to AAA Tacoma. On the 28th, Matt Brash was recalled from AAA Tacoma as right-handed pitcher Diego Castillo was placed on the 15-day IL with right shoulder inflammation. That move was retroactive to July 26th. So, again, as we mentioned, should be back sooner as soon as that ends. On the 29th, the big deal that I was talking about, the Mariners landed ace pitcher Luis Castillo in the trade with the Cincinnati Reds. Seattle receives right-handed pitcher Luis Castillo. He's a 29-year-old right-hander who is a 2-time All-Star both in 2019 and this year. He's a low 3/4 pitcher, but features one of the best changeups in all of the major leagues to go along with a high 90s fastball and a nice slider. According to StatCast, he uses his 4-seam fastball and slider against lefties while using 2-seamers and changeups against righties. Great strikeout pitches. He's under club control through 2024, so it's not like he's a rental necessarily, but in my opinion, I'd like to get him locked down sooner rather than later. But this is a big move since he receives infielder Noel V. Marte, who is the number 17 prospect in all of baseball. Infielder Edwin Arroyo, who was a draft pick last year but has rocketed up to the 92 prospect spot in all of baseball. Right-handed pitcher Levi Stout and right-handed pitcher Andrew Moore. So, yes, you look at it, 2 great infielders. But at the end of the day, these guys wouldn't have seen Major League play until maybe 2024, if we're being optimistic about it or depending on how things go. You get the best pitcher on the market. Montas, who I just mentioned, was the second best pitcher. Anything else going on? Can't tell. You get the best pitcher for a couple of guys who, again, you're gonna, at the end of the day, you're gonna need to give up good prospects for a guy like Castillo. So I wasn't mad at it. I just know that some people, it's just interesting with Mariners Twitter because sometimes it's like, you never make any big time trades. And then it's now that one of those trades has been made, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you trade the farm? It's like you
never satisfied.
No. So I'm happy with the Castillo trade because you make one of the best rotations in baseball, probably the best rotation in baseball. You've got Castillo, Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, Marco Gonzalez, and Chris Flexen. I don't include George Kirby in that rotation simply because Kirby has been one of those guys he's playing more innings than he ever has in his professional career. So I imagine you shut him down. Maybe you see him at some point next year, depending on free agents deals with how you look at Flexen or so and so. But all of those guys are quality pitchers, and you just give yourself more of a chance to win ball games. It's just you look at the contrast of things your offense has to pick up. You have to be able, because Luis Castillo can have all these great games for you, but if you don't provide him run support, it doesn't really matter. So this is a good trade. Again, he's under club control through 24, so I'd like to get him extended. But I was happy with it. You get, again, the best pitcher on the market. Frankie Montas, the second best pitcher, has just gone to the Yankees. The Astros acquired Trey Mancini, who's a slugger from the Orioles. I told you I got to keep this thing active because things are going on. Oh, boy. the trade deadline's tomorrow, so we might have more news for you by the time this drops out. The Mariners, we'll get to it. I'm skipping ahead. But overall, I like the Castillo move. Did you have any thoughts on it? Because I know I talked about, how some of the fan base looks at it with the prospects, but do you have any look out on that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it makes us stronger overall. Like you said, we've had some good pitchers already, but definitely looking forward to seeing him on the mound as well.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to whatever game that you or I are going to be at.
Yeah.
We get to see Luis pitch because I know that Suarez and Winker talked about, the guy he is, and they're just excited to have him around.
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. Also on the same day, I'm sorry, Phillips, I feel like he gets overshadowed because the team claimed right-handed pitcher Phillips Valdez off of waivers from Boston, optioning him straight away to AAA Tacoma. On the 30th, there was a lot of roster moves because of these injuries. The team selected left-handed pitcher Brendan Bernardino from AAA Tacoma. The team recalled outfielder Jared Kelnick from AAA Tacoma. They selected outfielder Jack Larson from AA Arkansas, which is interesting. Jack Larson made his MLB debut, so congratulations to Jack. The team placed outfielder Julio Rodriguez on the 10-day injured list with a right wrist contusion. The team placed infielder/outfielder Dylan Moore on the 10-day IL with back spasms. And the team designated left-handed pitcher Anthony Mashevitz for assignment. So Jared Kelnick is back. I know that people had been waiting for his return, but Kelnick gets his return because of the injuries. He's been doing well in Tacoma, and I know they said they'd bring him up when they felt he was ready. I think this is kind of a call to action right here because you needed it. So I'm going to say, too, I want you guys to be generous with Jared's time here because yesterday he took a 6 a.m. flight to Houston. He got to the ballpark during the game, and he got like 10 swings in the batting cage, and they said, "You're going in." And so he now, after that game, had to get on another plane to New York.
Yeah.
So let's give Jared
him some time
a
to
grace
settle in.
period and let him, because that's got to be tough.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, can you imagine all that? You were playing in a game the day before, get up at 6 a.m. on a flight, go to Houston,
in the game.
get like no warm-up, go in the game. And now you're playing one of the best teams in baseball in the Yankees.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I really do. I know it's a tough trade, but I really do hope Jared steps up because he's 23. Again,
I'm rooting for him too.
So give him a grace period. We'll see how it goes. I almost jumped the gun when I talked about this news here. The Mariners, talk about the Reds. Someone said the Seattle Reds. The Mariners are reportedly one of the 3 teams pursuing Reds infielder Brandon Drury. He is a utility man for the Reds, playing all over their infield. He has a 2.2 WAR this season to go with a 272 batting average, an 845 OPS, and an 8125 OPS plus. He's one of the names not named Juan Soto. That's one of the better bats on the market. I know that Adam Frazier's been playing better as of late. If he had been playing poorly to go into the All-Star break, I'd say, yes, you got to make a trade for Brandon Drury. But I know that there are still calls for another bat because of you just want to add more offense. Excuse me. At the end of the day, you're never going to have enough offense. I'm interested to see if this trade gets made. I don't know if it does. I mean, including the offseason with Winker and Suarez, and now this with Castillo, you've already made 2 trades with the Reds this season. Seattle Reds. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. I know that with Marte being traded in that Castillo trade, it probably puts you out of the running for Soto, and fine, sure. When he becomes a free agent in 2024, sign him then. But I know that DePoto has said they're still looking at maybe another reliever, and they're going to try for another bat, but it might be hard because of just circumstance. So as you can tell with things going on, things are still happening. So you never know. And we'll keep you updated, obviously, on social media, and then we'll recap it next week if you don't follow us on social media. But I advise you to do so you can keep up to date. We had a lot of news already break this morning.
A lot of updates.
On the something else just happened.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, okay. It's just the return for the Montes deal. Don't care right now. On the 1st of August, as you said with the Seahawks, the Mariners are viewed as the 73rd most valuable franchise in North America at $1.77 billion, which is a lot of money. And also, the Mariners traded left-handed pitcher Anthony Mashevitz to the Kansas City Royals for cash considerations. So DFA turned into cash considerations. Money. As we get to league notes here in the Soto saga of things, on July 28th, the Padres were deemed as a front-runner for Soto. The Yankees were not and were effectively taken out of the running.
Thank goodness.
On the 29th, the Nationals made a final offer to Juan Soto contract-wise. If they don't trade, they will trade him if a deal couldn't be reached, and it seems like a deal hasn't been reached. ESPN's Jeff Passan said that it's highly likely that Soto is traded before the deadline, giving him an 80% chance of a deal being done. On the 30th, the Padres were readying a big Soto deal featuring some of their top prospects. The Nationals reportedly, after the Padres made an offer of 4 of their top prospects, upped their price to an additional top prospect. So they said, no, we want another.
Countered.
On the 31st, it was viewed as the Dodgers, Cardinals, and Padres as the final 3 battling for Soto, with the Cardinals upping their offer. So, I mean, we'll keep up with it, but it doesn't seem like the Mariners are going to be in play with it. For this trade deadline, maybe he'll end up a Mariner in offseason of 2024.
What time is the deadline? Is it
time, I believe it's midday tomorrow.
Okay. Should have something by then.
Yeah, we'll see. Continuing with it, on the 29th, Shohei Ohtani was non-committal on his future with the Angels. Ohtani says, I love my team. Right now, I'm an Angel, and that's all I can focus on. With news that Ohtani might potentially be traded, it got a headline this morning that the Angels are not going to trade him this deadline. So he still could end up somewhere else this off soon, but for now, he's an Angel. On the 30th, 2 teams in the AL, well, 2 different teams in baseball are ready to sell. The Giants and the Red Sox are ready to sell basically all of their veterans. The Red Sox not taking calls on Rafael Devers or Xander Bogaerts, and the Giants are ready to sell on their veterans. So interesting to see who might be moved here before the deadline as teams stock up. So we'll see what our Mariners do, but they've got a pretty hefty task ahead of them before anything else. They sit at a 55-48 record, second in the AL West still. They are second in the wild card, 3 games behind Toronto for the first wild card spot, a half game ahead of Tampa Bay for the third wild card spot. Looking ahead, they play the Yankees, as you can see here, August 1st through 3rd in New York. The first and second are 4:05 p.m. starts. The third is a 10:05 a.m. start Pacific time. And then they come back home. They get a rest day on the 4th. They come back home to play the Angels in a 4-game set. Friday, the 5th is a 7:10 start. The 6th is a doubleheader day with a 1:10 start taking place, and then a 7:10 start on the 6th, and then the 7th is a 1:10 start on that Sunday. So
this is the first time they're meeting again since the brawl.
Yes, so that'll be fun, won't it?